So then it's probably 20 minutes while the surgeon makes the incision on the approach down to the bone. So then when he's got there, and different ones have got different techniques. Some of them, there is a flat spot on the femur, and some of them will ask you to externally rotate about 40 degrees and lock it, so that they want to cut on the flat area, because it just gives them confidence that they've got the saw blade square. And you've forgotten more about cutting saws than I'll ever know, so we won't go into that. So what we would normally do is apply 4 or 5 turns of traction. This is 1/4 of an inch a turn, so he can ask for 5 turns, or he can ask for 1 1/4 inches, or whatever he wants. It's just enough to put the femur in tension, so that when the saw goes through, the last bit breaks and he doesn't overcut.
So now that does not lock, or does lock?
Well,
or you just turn it,
yeah.
And it just stays wherever you turn it.
Correct. It's a twin start lead screw running right the way through the centre, and it can't get unwound.
That's for the rotation, is it?
That locks the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that locks it. Okay.
That locks the rotation.
Okay.
This sometimes seems to move with it, but it's not really relevant.
Is that what you're calling abducted when you do that?
No, that's rotation.
So, what was that?
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
So this is very easy to lock and unlock. Again, you can index this round. You then just lift and index. It doesn't need a lot of force to lock it. You can actually swap that handle onto this side if you want. It's very, very straightforward. I'll show you how to do that. If you've got a strongly left-handed crew, you literally take that out, put it in there, and put that in there like that. That's on the other side. Most people don't bother changing it really. My view is it's easier to see when it's on top. It doesn't matter whether you lift or right-handed. So now he's cut the femur, and the other nice thing about cutting under a bit of tension is that when he cuts it in the incision, the femur retracts away from the head that he's left, so it automatically makes a space for him to go in and now extract the femoral head. So it would normally go in with a corkscrew straight into the head, unless the head's very diseased, in which case he might cut it up with a saw and get it out in pieces. One of the things we've found just with practice, and I'm not quite sure why it works, but when they're extracting the head, especially if it's a big one, the femur can get in the way, and by just unlocking that and leaving that free, so that it'll just move, the femur will just go wherever the surgeon forces it, it's just easier for them to hook the head out. And basically that's it. Okay, so now they can do all the reaming and the fit of the cup, whether they use a trial cup or whatever. And always remembering that the C-arm will be coming in from the other side, and it's got all this space here, nothing in between. So you can actually image the full pelvis and the full extent of the stem. So he's now finished preparing, he's now got the cup in place. Now he wants to do the stem. So occasionally, just occasionally, it's possible for the femur to drop around the side of the pelvis and get stuck. And the surgeon ought to be aware of that. It doesn't happen very often with our machine because of our femoral prop. It happens quite a lot with the others. Now if you extend the leg when the femur's hooked behind the pelvis, what happens is you snap the tip off the femur. And you don't want to do that. But they should be taught about that when they've been taught to do the surgery. Occasionally, if it has got trapped, they might ask for some traction just to help pull it out so they can hook it back above the pelvis. But as I say, it happens very rarely with this. It all depends on the physiology of the patient. So this is the kind of brutal bit. So you take all the traction off.
This is the brutal bit?
Yeah. The more brutal bit. It's all pretty brutal, isn't it? Orthopedic surgery. Take the traction off and unlock this. So this is now free to float with whatever's happening with the leg. Externally rotate. It helps if the surgeon or his assistant rotate the knee at the same time. And he will decide when it's rotated enough. But it's usually somewhere in this region here. Okay? So you've gone all the way round and a bit more round there, like that. But only after you've cut the femur. You lock. Now, I'm just going to lock this because otherwise it's going to slide down the track. What actually happens is, the reason you unlock it is, when you go down with the leg on there, it actually slides up the track. So you unlock this and go down, okay, and then this is a deduction. And then lock. Okay, so now patient's leg is coming down here over this prop and around this. And that's what gives, you can now start to see how that gives the geometry where the tip of the femur is sitting up and presented towards the surgeon. And that's effectively what you're trying to achieve. You can add, they might ask for more adduction. What tends to happen is they don't know what, they can't see what's happening. All it does is bend the patient's knee, which I think is a bit of a bad thing.
So it's pretty important that whoever's at the end of the table using this knows the interaction of the different levers, and
Yes.
they need to be trained on it properly.
Because they're going to kind of be under there, underneath the drape.
But it's transparent. You only go down and then you get back up again. It's not like you're sitting down there.
Right. But they need to know to release the right thing at the right time. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now again, what we can do and nobody else can do, because remember now the surgeon's standing here and he's hitting wedge-shaped brooches or reamers into the neck of the femur quite hard. And the patient's leg will be bouncing up and down by 2 or 3 inches, absorbing all that energy. What we can do, which nobody else can do, is we can actually lock this when this is down, which means that now the surgeon is hitting against a solid platform.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've actually measured it in terms of the number of hits Jamie has to do in surgery. There used to be like 4 or 5 in and then 3 or 4 to get the thing out. Now it's 2 hits in, 1 out, next reamer, 2 hits in, 1 out, because we can lock that. Otherwise, effectively, you've got a long sack of soft tissue with the bone dangling down inside it, and you're hitting it and it's all going...
Hmm.
And so then does the doctor tell you when to lock it? Or do they know it has the ability to lock, or you offer it? Or
We offer it.
I think you've got to get the
Good
tech
question.
right, offer
familiar
to
with
tech, right, yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
You only want, you just say to the surgeon, you want me to lock the foot?
Is there a tech guide?
Well, it's on in here.
Okay.
Perhaps not perfect yet, but there's a whole set of